Was Paul Morris a big help? Oh, this is a good one. No one's asked anything about him or anyone else at the moment, actually. So Paul Morris, I actually used to work for Paul before I raced with him. So Paul has the Norwell Motorplex is what it's called now, I'm pretty sure. They changed their names just as I left. I worked there because I was dating Andre as well. I was working there with them as a driving instructor. So Paul was very helpful. He gave me a job, obviously, even though it was like $20 an hour. It was good because I got to get lots of experience. Like, there is that many cars and that much stuff out there too that I got access to and I got to play around in. They've had like all their fabricating shops and everything out there as well. The Triple Eight would come out there and HRT and everybody would come out too. So I got exposure to all of that, which was good. I was still racing Porsche at the time. But yeah, it was good to work there and I guess get an idea of like the lifestyle and how it all works, because I knew nothing about supercars. Let me tell you, when I started Porsche, I only just found out. I remember when I left go-karting, I realized that when we're at go-karting, when Bathurst was on, all the boys used to like go sit and watch like the TVs and watch like this big race, right? And here I am, like, got no idea, didn't care. And then it wasn't until I got to Paul's place and he I think he won Bathurst the year that I was there, and I was just like, oh, like this is the big race that everybody like talks about. You know, this is what all the boys at go-karting used to watch, and they used to put on the projectors and stuff. This is what Paul's doing, and this is what, you know, that was like my first real exposure, and like the ball dropped and I'm like, oh, it's like this big car race. So that was like 2016, 15, I'd only just heard of Bathurst by then. So, but no, Paul was a very good help. He gave me a lot of experience, opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I got probably experience that you can't get anywhere else, like that Norwell Motorplex. There's nowhere like that. Queensland Raceway is not comparable because you don't have access to all the different cars and stuff. So I was very lucky. I got to be an instructor. I thought I was a pretty decent one. Being a girl too, lots of people liked that. And he wrapped up a car like mine and then started racing for him out of there as well. And he was helpful. I mean, don't get me wrong, everybody knows what Paul can be like. He can be a bit of a dick sometimes, but so can I. But Paul was helpful. Like, he did engineer me and he did teach me a lot of things. I remember one time he'd come up to me and he's just like, go get a car and we're just gonna go like thrash it. And he was teaching me how to drift and stuff. So I can't knock Paul's opportunity that he gave me. Yeah, he'd been a dick. He used to make me cry. He used to be mean to me, but probably deserved it half the time anyway. But yeah, towards the end, when I really wanted to take it seriously, I felt that it just wasn't a good fit either with just how he operated things in regards to, I used to call him sort of like bush racing. Like, he's very like to the point, doesn't believe in all the technology and all the bullshit, which is fine. He doesn't think looking at a computer screen or telling you sectors or whatever is going to make you faster, and that's totally okay. Some people operate like that, but for me, I felt like it wasn't making me any better because I wanted to see that, but he wasn't giving it to me. So I don't know, we just clashed heads in the end. I would probably say I was glad to leave because I hated getting paid $20 an hour. That was fucked. And then dealing with Paul, it's like, yeah, it was hard in the end because I wasn't enjoying it. Did the pussy wagon comment offend you, or was it funny? Okay, this is another thing that I could talk about for ages. First of all, if anybody read anything about anything, I didn't have the issue. It was V8 supercars that had the issue. I thought it was fucking brilliant. I wanted to milk it. I wanted to put merchandise and have the fucking pussy wagon sticker on the back of the car. I thought it was great. I thought it's funny. I have a shop where I sell stuff now online, and it is called Pussy Wagon Shop. I loved it. I think Dave's very creative and he's quirky as fuck, and he didn't deserve to get the penalty at all. I didn't have the problem with it. It was supercars. They actually came to me and told me that he said that, and they also told me that they were going to fine him. So it was at the time, someone from Supercars told me, I can't remember, but it was at the time where all of the like NRL players and everything were like bashing their wives, and all these sex tapes were getting leaked, and all of these other sports were going through a bit of strife with like women and how they respected women and stuff. So V8 Supercars wanted to jump on it because they didn't want V8 Supercars to fall into that category, because there was lots of news going around at the time about, these players bashing their wives, or, raping these chicks who didn't want to have sex with them or whatever. So that's why they jumped on it. So that's why they fined him. But I did not have anything to do with it. I didn't complain about it. They actually told me that he had to apologize to me publicly and I had to accept it. So Supercars manipulated that whole thing. It was nothing to do with me. Favorite most memorable race? I don't know, I actually had a few. My most memorable ones are really weird. They're like when the car was really good and I was actually driving okay. Not necessarily my position, but I think I had one in Porsche at Townsville and Gold Coast. So I think my last year in Porsche at Gold Coast was like the most fun race I've ever had in my whole entire life. I don't even know why. I was just passing heaps of people. It was just so much fun. I had another race in a Porsche as well at Sydney Motorsport Park in the wet. That was really fun as well. Like I think I came 8th or something. I don't know why. The car was just really good in the wet. I actually quite enjoyed driving in the wet. And I just remember passing heaps of people, and it was just really fun. So they're probably my most memorable ones. Random, no one probably remembers them except me, but to me that they were the most memorable ones. Like when I think about racing, they're the ones that come to my mind. Ford or Holden, I don't really care. People think because I have a Mustang that I like Fords, but I don't. I'll drive any car. The Mustang was just a personal preference. I wanted a manual rear-wheel drive V8, and Holden ones were a cop car, and I don't want a cop car. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really care. As long as it's fast, got power, I don't care what it is. Be a Datsun for all I care. As long as it goes fast and I can have fun in it, that's all that matters. What else? I'll get into some of the other ones about, oh my god, someone asked how do I fix pit lane understeer. Oh, funny. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you a story about that one. I think one of my friends, when I was living in Melbourne, one of my friends, we were just like, I don't know, we were giving each other shit, we were giving each other a hard time about something. And he actually turned around and said something like that. He's just like, he was just being a smart ass, and he's just said something about pit lane understeer. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what? And I was just really confused, because I'm like, what's pit lane understeer? Like, that's nothing, I don't understand. And then he's just like, I don't know, you tell me. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's just like, well, you're the one that said it. And I'm like, no, I didn't say that. He's like, yeah, you did. You said that when you raced at Bathurst. And I've gone, what? Anyway, he pulled it up on YouTube, showed me the video. This is a couple months after Bathurst, by the way. Showed me it on YouTube, or when they played like the video footage and like they had me on the radio, and I heard me say it. I did not even know that I said that. Like, I was so flustered, and I literally obviously had no idea what I was doing or saying. I like literally had no fucking idea. And when I listened to it, I won't even lie, like I cracked up laughing. It was like, yeah, for me, I found out that I said it. I didn't even know that I said it, to be honest. After that whole thing happened, I really don't remember much about that weekend. Like, it was such a big weekend, let alone that one moment in time. So I think that's quite funny. I know how to fix it too. Just don't fucking crash and you won't get it. So that's funny. That's a good one. What's the average cost of racing, and are there any hidden expenses? Oh my God, this is like, you can't even answer that. The average cost, like, to put it into perspective for you guys, when I raced supercars in the team that I raced in, even with Paul and Dragon in the end, they were low cost teams. They were not very like top of the line teams. We had no affiliation with any other, main game teams or nothing. I think my year with Paul cost like $420,000. I'm pretty sure we didn't pay that all because we ran out of money and my manager had to pay him back. But it cost us roughly around that $400 and something thousand mark, and like that's not for the best cars. And I think for my last year of, or when I was with Dragon, it was roughly the same as well. And when I was looking at getting into other teams, some teams were quoting us like $600,000-$700,000 to race. So there is no average cost. It literally just depends who the team is, how good they think they are, what equipment they have, and how much they think someone will pay. I know for a fact that there are some people out there that are paying more than that to actually go racing. So there is no average cost. If you can write a check for $1 million, you can race. Like if you can write a check for $300,000, you're probably not going to be able to race a very good car, but you can probably get there. So yeah, there's no average cost. It's just fucking expensive, and a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, some of the main game programs are like multi-millions. Like it's in the millions to run single cars, and some teams have more. So yeah, you're talking 6 to 10,000, no, 10 million, sorry, to race a car around the track, and not necessarily, some teams don't even win anything. So it's expensive as fuck, unfortunately. Why did I stop? What made you stop? Do I miss racing? Do I miss racing? No, I don't. A lot of people think that I miss racing. Like in my last year, I signed up when I started with Dragon, knowing that I didn't have enough money to do a full season. But I wanted to do it anyway, in the hope that potentially I could find more sponsorship or like pull a couple $100,000 out my ass somehow. But I knew that I didn't have enough money, and the second I started, I didn't want to do it. I don't know, it was like this weird thing. I was eventually, because I had 2 years in V8s, that last second year that I did it, I was really starting to click to myself that I probably didn't have what it took, and that I probably wasn't going to be good enough to race full time, or it was just going to take a lot longer. And for me, I don't have personal money. I didn't have any backing behind me other than my sponsorship. So I already knew before I started the series that it was probably going to be my last year anyway. I was in the back of my mind trying not to tell myself, but was preparing myself to stop. And then it was funny because the second that year started, it was like so hard, and I just knew that I just gave up basically. It was really hard. I just tried my best at the time, but then yeah, it was just like mentally so draining, because I knew it wasn't what I wanted to do anymore at that level anyway, and it wasn't what I was really good at. And I also matured a lot as well. Like I started when I was 12, I finished when I was 22 or something, maybe, I don't know, I'm 24 now, maybe 21, 22. So like you got like, they're like your prime years. So I had matured a lot, and I realized through that time that I don't know, like all of a sudden I just could see all these opportunities, and I saw all these successful people who I was racing with Porsche and having businesses, and you know, them spending their money to go racing, and I knew a lot more, and I was more educated, and I knew that, you know, the guys at the top were getting paid X, and there were still some guys in main game that weren't getting paid, and I knew that I was at the point where if I went any further, I would literally probably fuck my life up. So in the back of my mind, that last year I was like, I shouldn't have done it, but I did because I did still enjoy it. But yeah, it was, for me, I was done. And that's why I don't miss it, because I literally spent like 7 months maybe preparing myself to like get out of it however I could. So yeah, I don't miss it because I knew for a very long time that it wasn't going to be my thing forever. There are some fucking stupid ass questions on here, let me just tell you. The difference between me and Simona one's interesting. I don't know how to really say that. I know for a fact that when I wanted to get into main game, Supercars did not want me. So I had meetings with James Warburton, who was the CEO at the time. I've had meetings with people about it, and like, it was just not going to be for me. Like, I literally had James Warburton tell me that the CEO, who's a chick, her name was Zoe something, from Holden, didn't want me. She didn't want me to drive a Holden, or didn't want anything to do with me because of my image. So she didn't like my image, unfortunately. So yeah, I think Supercars wanted a female, but I just wasn't the fit for them because I offended people with my fucking long hair and my boobs. So I think Simona was a bit more, I guess, fitting for their role, rather than me, who causes controversy, people don't like, you know, I'm me. So they didn't like that. I was a risk. I wasn't that good either was Simona, but I was more of a risk than what she was. So they took her because technically she would have been the safer option. She had more money than I did as well. That's another thing people don't know. So yeah, I didn't have really much to bring to the table. So that's why I didn't make it. And Supercars, at the end of the day, if they picked her, they would have made her get there no matter how much money I had. So that's that. Are you done with racing? If it was the right thing, would you get back behind the wheel? No, I'm done. Like, I'm done. That's pretty much it. There's some stuff here about like why I ended and like why everything finished, but I think I'm going to do that in another episode, because that's like going to be a long ass video. So yeah, I'll answer that one in another one on, I guess, how it all ended, why it ended, the reasons that it ended. Some crazy people outside. And yeah, I'll do that, and I might ask you guys for more questions as well, so I can do another one for questions. There's so many on here that I haven't answered, by the way. So yeah, I might do another video, and hopefully this helped answer a lot of questions for you guys.